The 2020 Ethnographic Methods class presents A Neighborhood of Saturday Nights, a look inside the lives and history of the descendants of the Old South Side. As children of the 60s, the unique historical blend of inspiring pop culture, a country at war, reaching new heights through the moon landing, and rising tolerance amongst adolescents, produced a generation of individuals determined to push towards a bright future while still preserving important traditions from their pasts.
The Old South Side neighborhood is bounded by South, Morris, West, and Madison Streets, located just south of downtown. Between 1910 till around the 1960s, it was an island of racial harmony. While many of the community members growing up in the late 1950s and 1960s did not experience the type of racial integration their parents' generation witnessed, remnants of this harmony remained throughout their early childhood days. Before the construction of I-70 in the 1970s divided the neighborhood, it was Morris Street that served as the major boundary. But that was because it was not safe for the kids to cross the busy street. The majority of the black kids during this time lived north of Morris, while a majority of the white kids, who originally hailed from Kentucky and Tennessee, lived south of Morris. While our community members grew up in and moved to different parts of Indianapolis throughout their lives, they are all connected by their fond childhood memories of the Old South Side.
North Central High School in the 1960s had a graduating class of around 1,000 students. They possessed one of the highest rates of Jewish students in the city, which included many former Southsiders. With the world in the middle of the Civil Rights Movement and students graduating in 1969 facing the draft, the tension surrounding them was significant. Students worked hard and partied hard, enjoying everything from school dances to live band performances in each other's garages and friends' basements. Students also participated in extracurricular activities provided by the school. Sam Passo, a Southside descendant, was a member of North Central's Honor Society, gaining accolades for his academic achievements. Scott Namias, another former Southsider, was fond of stagecraft and built sets for many of the school's theatrical productions over the years. Stephen Calderon was a member of both the track and the cross-country teams, which won quite a few races in their time. North Central also boasted a number of Jewish and non-Jewish fraternities and sororities. Pledging one of these exclusive groups immediately expanded the social lives of those involved. Steve Calderon and Sam Passo recalled their fraternity Polk as halfway between Swank, the frat known for partying, and AZA, the frat with a more religious leaning. Sam Passo described pledging to his frat as very similar to the movie Animal House. Each fraternity had what was called a Hell Night on the night of the pledge's initiation. The new recruits were blindfolded and pranks were played on them by other members, including drinking puke juice, a concoction of Tabasco sauce, raw eggs, and buttermilk.
In the fall of 1953, Harry E. Wood High School opened in the refurbished school buildings vacated by Emmerich Manual High School. Wood was designed as a new vocational training high school with its primary focus on academics and the specific goal of providing secondary-level vocational education to its students. The school closed in 1978. Although it was not common at the time, Wood High School was an integrated school. The vocational job training curriculum that the school provided appealed to the largely African-American local neighborhood, as well as Caucasian students around the city, creating a diverse student population.
Many Southside descendants attended this school. Xenia Harris, an active member of the Old South Side community, attended Harry E. Wood. She participated in many humanitarian activities in high school, including a Dress the Doll project for the Red Cross. Being quite musical, she was also a member of her high school band. Her brother Hilderman Harris attended junior high at Harry E. Wood. Hilderman showcased his athletic ability as a member of his 7th grade basketball team. Beverly Miller, now known as Beverly Miller Kahn, served as the secretary of her student council, practicing leadership qualities she still employs in her quest to preserve the Old South Side.
Harry E. Wood was unique in providing vocational training within its curriculum. The school offered 4 different diplomas: an academic diploma, a general diploma, a practical arts diploma, and a vocational diploma, which was the main draw for the high school. Vocational training included dry cleaning and pressing, woodworking, auto mechanics, welding, newspaper production, and office and business training. The goal of Harry E. Wood High School, put forth by the original principal, Mr. Emery, was that high school should be training grounds for students, an innovative idea for the time.
A popular way for teenagers in the 1960s to learn about popular culture like fashion, music, sports, and even politics was by reading their favorite magazines.
And this is really important. You would see those either in the Ebony magazine. Then we also had the Jet magazine, which either have James Brown on the front of there, Diana Ross.
Of course, we can't talk about popular culture without mentioning favorite movie stars like Marilyn Monroe, Paul Newman, and John Wayne. Then of course there's the popular comic book genre that featured a variety of new superheroes. Some of these, like Batman, even inspired movie adaptations at the time. Fun fact, much of the comic book industry was created by Jewish artists whose influence can be seen in Jewish characters like Batman himself, who we see here. Sci-fi, another popular genre during the 60s, featured movies like First Men in the Moon and shows like Star Trek that continued later on. And then there was always the beloved weekend ritual of Saturday morning cartoons that started early and kept up through their teenage years. Next up is the music industry, with famous festivals like Woodstock in 1969 and the artists who performed there, as well as the Beatles concert held in Indianapolis, which many residents remember as a fantastic event. But the Beatles aren't the only favorite band of teenagers from the Old South Side. Following pop culture wasn't always enough for some. Some teenagers, like the North Central kids seen here, wanted to leave their mark on pop culture by forming their own band.
One band that everyone remembers was Frenchie and the Wee-Wees, headed by Asher Ben Ruby. They played many popular tunes from rock to Motown. Soon, this class would graduate, and many would become pivotal members of society.
Our class has been working hand in hand with today's descendants of the South Side in order to preserve their history, gaining valuable stories through the interviewing process, some funny and some sad, recounting the highs and lows of growing up in the beloved South Side. Some descendants meeting for the very first time, exchanging stories of their own experiences, remembering it like it was only yesterday due to the profound effect the community had. They found that they all had the same thing in common. No matter how far they went, there was always something that connected them and brought them back together. It was their love for a community that was so much more than just a neighborhood. It was a beating heart. While there is an immense sadness for the loss of such a special community, the love and laughter lives on in these descendants, whose stories and memories keep the values strong into the next generation.